a second stream today, so actually I have to delete all this. So actually it's episode 120, but it's no longer the news. What is it going to be? It was going to be MTG spoiler discussion. Bloomburrow. Well, I don't remember what the hell it was called. That's kind of the whole point. I don't know what it was called. Anyways. Warning, the following program is recorded live and is not intended for children. This program may contain dark and graphic content that may be distressing for some viewers and against the terms of service for some platforms. The themes and opinions expressed in this program should be considered entirely fictional and should not be used for political or academic purposes. Facts are not checked and no sources or citations will be provided. Should you choose to redistribute this broadcast in part or in whole, please do so at your own risk and only in good faith. Thank you again for joining. Viewer and listener discretion is advised. Hello and welcome back to a second episode of the day of Rainbows and Razor Blades. On today's episode, it's the 23rd of July, 2024, and I haven't played Magic the Gathering in about close to a decade. But I'm very curious, and I think I'll probably take a break in a little bit to get breakfast, because I'm really hungry. But first, I want to take a look at the new set, and I want to give some of my first initial impressions of it, even if I don't get through every card and we've split this into multiple episodes. Because I haven't played in a very long time, and I'm curious to see what it's about. Because someone told me I might like it, and I said, I think it sounds cliche. I think it sounds like they've hit the wall with, things that they can do. And Magic the Gathering spoiler official. Because they do it officially now. I mean, they'd be stupid not to. I mean, truly. Oh, is this all we get? Wait, is this a... The fact that there's squirrel themes is hilarious. A nut token, I swear to God if there's a nut token. I swear to fucking God, dude. Duskmorn sounds really cool. Bloomburrow sounds great. Oh, these sound so cool. Assassin's Creed, is that real? What the fuck? They just be doing anything now? Templar Knight. What must be done? Yeah, someone told me they jumped the shark. I haven't played in like 10 years. Fallout, yeah, they be doing everything. Ravnica Remastered sounds sick. Alright, well, let's go with Bloomburrow, because that's what someone was talking about. Oh, this looks so sick. This looks really cool. I also really love, as a first impression, the maple leaf. The fractal maple leaf, that's super cool. Alright, so Banishing Light. That's a reprint. Enters the battlefield, exile, non-land permanent, opponent controls Banishing Light. I'm pretty sure it's a reprint. Beza the Bounding Spirit. It's an elemental elk. That's really cool, but it's a legendary, so let's see what it does. When Bezda the Bounding Spirit enters, create a treasure token. If an opponent controls more land... Oh, sorry, it's an ad. If an opponent controls more land than you, you gain 4 life. If an opponent has more life than you, create 2 1/1 blue fish creature tokens. If an opponent controls more creatures than you, draw a card if opponent has more cards in hand than you. It's good. It's actually really, really good, but it's really good in limited formats. It's good in EDH, I would think, and it's good in... Which is already, like, if you're limiting to white in EDH, you kind of deserve to get this type of card advantage, if that makes sense. And here's the thing. Because you're playing white, you're not really, gaining anything that great by creating 1/1 blue fish tokens. Like, it's cool. And blue and white love to play together, and, like, it knows that. But the thing is, if you're limiting it to an EDH deck, it's not going to be your general. And if you're playing it as your general, like, why? Like, there's just better cards. So I think it's really cool. I love the artwork. I mean, the artwork is just, like, really what's keeping me on this. I mean, I'm just, like, looking at it. Like, it looks like the coolest thing since Eventide. Or what was it? What was the base set of Eventide? Was it Eventide? And then there was Shadow Moor, maybe? Is that right? So this one is now... This seems to be of a different spiritual vibe, but similar high fantasy, but like, yeah, like, look at this. Like, it's like a rabbit person and a mouse person. This is adorable. My friend was right. I do like this. A rabbit and a mouse. That's so cute. It's a 1/1, so that's so cute. This is great. Did you bring everything you need for the journey? The rabbit asked. Of course I did. I brought you, my dear Pinecone, the mouse replied. Oh, oh, that's so good. I may have to get back into this. 1 mana and tap. Target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. Activate only as a sorcery. It's so fucking bad, but it's so fucking cute. I love this card so much. It's so bad and unplayable. Even if you gave it an equipment, it's not good. Oh, this is so cute. Look at this fucking thing. It's a Weasel Soldier. Bright Blade Stout. It's a stout. It's a stout. It's got first strike and lifelink. It's good. Bright blades are trained to constantly mind the sun's position, adjusting the angle of their dagger to maximize glare. That's really cute. Every single thing about this is perfect. This is a great set. This is great. I thought I wasn't going to like it. I was like, yeah, maybe I'll look at it. I haven't liked the last 50 fucking sets. I heard they jumped the shark. But this is cute. All right, let's see. Builder's Talent. Gain the next level as sorcery to add its ability. Huh? Sorry, this is going to just take me a minute. Gain the next level as a sorcery to add its ability. Oh, okay. That's kind of cool. It's a level up card. Sorry, I just have to clean really quick. Oh, God, you're going to hate me for doing this, but actually I just had to keep your attention and we're selling ad space. Oh, I'm so sorry. Like a 2/2 lifelinker is actually pretty good in, like, again, a limited format. Like if you're drafting it, like that's gonna be like maybe your third pick. And if you're building in like a limited aggressive format, like modern or standard, like you're running, I assume you're running better things. All right, let's get back into it. Thanks for joining. This is a Bloomburrow set. All right, let's see. Builder's Talent. When a Builder's Talent enters, create a 0/4 white wall creature with Defender. So that automatically happens for 2. So you have a 0/4, and then you pay 1 more mana at sorcery speed. Whenever 1 or more non-creature, non-land permanents you control enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control. And then it's whenever, so it becomes like a static effect. So then you pay 5, and it says when this class becomes level 3, return target non-creature, non-land permanent card from your graveyard to the battlefield. So, okay, so that's kind of cool. It's, I forget what that called. Resurrection effect is what that card is. But yeah, 5 for a resurrection, is pretty standard for white. Black also gets the same exact effect with no downside for that. So, this is adorable. This is so fucking cute. It's ridiculous. They should never have made something so cute. Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enter, draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. That's really good. The thing is you're paying 3 for this though, and it doesn't do anything. It's just it's an enchantment. Okay, and then when this class becomes level 2, create a token that's a copy of target you control, but only does that once, and you can only level it up once, right? Whenever 1 or more tokens you control enters, draw a card. This ability triggers only once per turn. It's not that good. And then creature tokens you control get +2/+2. This is a very interesting, very well-designed, extremely balanced card that I understand why they printed. I just wouldn't build around it. I have nothing else to say about it. Truly, it does very standard things with tokens. Carrot Cake. Very cute again. When Carrot Cake enters and when you sacrifice it, create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token with Scry. Look at the top card of your library. You may put that card on the bottom. Sacrifice a Carrot Cake. You gain 3 life. Yeah, it's a nothing. It's just like a cool thing that does something in a draft format. Crumb and Get It. Kind of cute. I like the Cosmic Bat theme. Gift a food. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. That is the coolest thing I have ever read on a Magic card. This is good. Dude, is Mark Rosewater like still on it? Like, we gotta hit him up and be like, bro, this is sick. Whoever it is that made this is sick. You may promise an opponent a gift. If you do, they create a food token before its other effects. It's an artifact with 2, sacrifice this artifact, you gain 3 life. That's super weird. It's also really interesting because it forces them to pay for 2, which actually can sort of become bait. And actually giving them an artifact is actually really good. Can they say no to the artifact? Because it's an artifact that it's creating. So it's pay 1, your opponent gets an artifact. Which, like, listen, if you're exploiting the fact that you're making your opponent an artifact, it is a very cool mechanical thing that Magic can do. It just isn't good. And if you're building around it, you're doing it as a meme, not because it's, we'll say, economically or competitively viable within the mana curve of the game. Like, not economics in terms of the price of the card to the dollar, but economics in terms of, like the curve of the game. Anyways, target creature you control gets +2/+2 until the end of turn. If the gift was promised, that creature also gains indestructible until the end of turn. I mean, it's very interesting. It's actually very interesting because it is so bad. And because it is a 1-drop, it needs to be bad. So it's interesting to see what the standard bad spell of this set is doing is already mechanically kind of wondrous. It's a little bit of a word salad, but it's mechanically sound. Dawn, I mean, they wouldn't print it if it wasn't. Dawn's Truce. I'm just used to critiquing people's fake cards, to be honest. I'm used to saying things are bad. Like, reading a standard Magic set, like, I used to do this all the time. That's why someone sent this to me. They're like, you do Rainbows and Razor Blades. Why don't you just do your old show? I'm like, well, for 2 reasons. 1, it's over. 2, I don't play anymore. But he's like, come on, man, you got to do it. Anyway, Dawn's Truce. 1 and 1 white. Gift a card. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast the spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. Interesting. So it isn't always an artifact creation. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until the end of turn. If the gift was promised, permanents you control also gain indestructible. So it's basically a white counter spell that gives blue back their option. And it just significantly counters every other color's wrath effects. And I think that's like pretty good, actually. Like, and what's interesting is that it's all permanents that you control, and you don't have to promise them the gift. So you actually can just go straight up. You and permanents you control gain hexproof until the end of turn. And also the gift was promised, then they're indestructible. So it doesn't actually dodge wrath without giving them their card back for the price of 2, because white cannot counter. And in the ways that white can counter, this is a really interesting spell, by the way. This is what you get. You get weird mechanical things. So I don't know who designed this, but this is so far, out of the set that I've seen, I have loved every card. I mean this. And I'm not just saying this for, like, promo. I really, really like this set so far. I also think that this card is my favorite so far. Art, composition, symbolism, rarity, overall design, clarity, and utility. I think I would run this in a deck, but with the understanding that this isn't really that good of a card. It's actually not a good card at all. And you're probably, just by having read what else is in this set, you're probably better off running either a buffing artifact for your team, or, and the thing is, without knowing anything else about the set, this is just my inference. I have no idea if what I'm saying is correct at all, because I haven't seen anything else. But from the limited amount I've seen, it's going to be, it looks like there's at least some token generation. And if you're going to archetype into that, you either hybridize with blue and play a real counter spell, like a real player, or you just don't run this. You just don't run Dawn's Truce. But it is a really cool conceptual card. So far, my favorite. Anyways, Drop Cure. Actually, I'm going to make a list. I'm going to write this down for cards that I will revisit. Oh, what's it called? Hold on, I'm just doing something. MS Paint. Paint.exe. mspaint.exe? There it is, mspaint.exe. Ridiculous that it can't just, like, know that what I want and not do it. Okay, so I'm just copy pasting it into a document that you don't have to be able to see at this point. Okay, Drop Cure. I love that name so far. That's so cute. Are you able to see my hover zoom? Oh, you are. That's so good for me. What a great episode. Drop Cure. Okay, gift a card. You may promise an opponent a gift as you cast a spell. If you do, they draw a card before its other effects. So it's another give back card. So return up to 2 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less. It's interesting that they've changed it to mana value. With mana value 2 or less, because it used to say mana cost. I assume it's the same thing. They just changed the word. Or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. I like that they use the word value now, because cost was kind of confusing, because some cards, some of the time, confuse some of the players. and you have to build around that. And it was in instances where, like, for example, a card that you could pay more for, like, doesn't actually change the mana cost of that card, but if you didn't know that, then it could be confusing. So mana value as a separate construct in a newer player's brain seems very well designed to me, and I'm sure someone wrote in a whole article about this at some point in history. Return up to 2 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. Okay, it's not really that good because it's so good in what it does, but it's so limited in what it can do it to. If the gift was promised, instead return up to 3 target creature cards with mana value 2 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield. So for 3, but they draw a card, you can basically res a bunch of trash. Like, honestly, that can be extremely good, which is why it is limited to sorcery speed and also printed at uncommon. Because that effect on a rare becomes oppressive, I think, even, and it maybe becomes deck defining if that goes off at instant speed, and thus a rare. And I mean, this is, without playtesting, I couldn't say if what I'm about to say is true or not, because there's maybe implications I'm not thinking of, but I do think even at 3, that they could get away with printing this card at rare, and I think that they could get away with making this card part of the set that you would run in, like, the modern or standard play. That being said, I'm glad that this is an uncommon. Gift Gloom Coyote looks, first of all, fucking amazing. That's like an archetype. And the fact that the rabbit is running and looks like a normal rabbit but is wearing clothing is just hilarious. It's just so ridiculous. Like, there's something human about it, but, like, it's like a cultural, like, clothing. Like, why is it wearing clothing? It's just an animal. It's ridiculous. Anyway, it's an elemental coyote that you're supposed to be more interested in. So it is, first of all, it costs too much to be a good thing. So when Drift Gloom Coyote enters, exile target creature an opponent controls until Drift Gloom Coyote leaves the battlefield. Oh, okay. So it's basically Oblivion Ringing a creature. That's not great. If that creature had power 2 or less, put a +1/+1 counter on Drift Gloom Coyote. So basically, it's removal. Actually, this is not bad in limited. Like, I would not first pick draft this, because it's only a 3/4, and there's probably just a better card that I could. But I do see that this could have, like, this is, like, exactly the right kind of card that you want printed at uncommon. Like, it's just, like, it's cool. I don't really have much else to add to it. Essence Channeler. This thing is fucking amazing. Look at how cool this looks. It's a bat. The artwork is fucking sick. What is going on with all this? Anyway, it's a bat cleric. As long as you've lost life this turn, Essence Channeler has flying and vigilance. Okay, so but it's still only a 2/1 for 2, which is pretty good. But a flying vigilance. Here's the thing: Vampire Nighthawk costs us 3, and so does 3/2 gain 2 life wither, or persist rather. I forget its name. Kitchen Finks. So, like, 2, you get, like, some good stuff, but not great stuff. Whenever you gain life, put a +1. Oh, it became good. But it doesn't have lifelink. It has flying and vigilance, and then whenever you gain life, it powers up. When it dies, put it counters on target creature you control. This is a really good card because it can have flying some of the time, and really only this card I think we'll see is going to be played hybridized with black. I cannot imagine that there is not some sort of lord that thematically is going to fit this card into a deck, even if it's not that good on its own. But I think that this card has, like, exploitable power. That's just what I'm looking at. Like, of the cards that we've seen, this so far is the one that, if I were to build a deck, I would want 4 of them in my deck. I don't know what the deck will look like yet, but I know that it gets 4 of them, maybe 3 of them, because, like, it's kind of a low cost. But, like, if you're gonna play a 2-drop, this could be your beater 2-drop on your curve. Like, you need that 2-drop down with white too if you're not playing tokens. That's why I say hybridizing with black, because so far we've seen that the rest of it is just standard tokens. Anyways, Flash. That's kind of cool. A Flash enchantment. So it draws a card and gets +1 and flying. So you basically, okay. It's kind of cool because it's got flash, so it's kind of like an instant, It's like, I mean, that is what flash is, but, like, it just, the card's effect is more like what an instant would do, and the fact that it cantrips, like, lets you draw pretty good, replaces itself. And if it's countered, then, like, why are you wasting a counter spell on my flying spell, dude? Like, come on. Who cares? Flowerfoot Swordmaster. Okay, the coolest fucking art, first of all. Second of all, the coolest card in the set so far. Okay, let's see. Offspring 2. First of all, that's hilarious. Automatically, we know what this is going to do. It's going to give us Offspring. And what a great keyword to put as, like, non-standard, not quote-unquote evergreen ability, but like a set ability. The word Offspring under mouse, ridiculous. A 1-dropping 1/2, which is already like, okay, well, it's not a 1/1. Anyway, Offspring 2. You may pay an additional 2 as you cast this spell. Right, that right there is my example for going back to why they changed it to mana value. If you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. Hilarious. So you get 2 for the price of 3. You can do that. Okay, Violent or Valiant. Whenever this creature becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, mice you control get +1 until the end of turn. That's kind of cute for a lording effect. It's, because it also allows you to swing for 4. I mean, that's not bad. So if you target it, especially if you give it, that stupid flying and +1, then they're taking 5 and you're drawing a card for the price of 2 cards and both turns. It's bad. Listen, I'm not trying to say that that's really good. I'm just trying to say that mechanically it's sound, and as an archetype that you could draft, it works. Harvest Tire Host. I know I've said this before, but again, the coolest artwork. A rabbit citizen. It's a rabbit citizen. It's literally a rabbit citizen. The fact that it has the word citizen implies so much about this world. This card is great. Whenever Harvest Right, great name too. Harvest Right host or another rabbit you control enters. It just says enters. It doesn't say enters the battlefield. Target creature you control gets +1 until the end of turn. Wait, enters what? It must just be enters the battlefield, because I'm used to it saying, like, because you know what it is? They've changed enters the graveyard to dies, I think is what it is. When, then draw a card if it's the second time this ability is resolved this turn. What? When Harvest Right host or another rabbit you control enters, target creature you control, maybe, I don't know why it says, I just don't know why it says it like that. I don't know. It's tripping me up a little bit. I mean, it makes sense to me. It's just, it's weird because they've changed the wording in the last 10 years. Many paws grew this feast, and many paws shall share it. I'm going to read this ones too. He grasped the glowing feather. The lizard's heart soared, and the rest of him quickly followed. That's kind of funny. What's this one say? The fog is descending like a starving beast. I believe our expedition ends here. Sad. Secret ingredient. What do you think, Mr. Bumbleflower? Dude, this guy's name is Bumbleflower. Somewhere out there in this world. Oh, yeah, we already read that one. I just want to make sure I didn't miss any of the... If you cannot find a light in the darkness, create it. Did you bring everything? Yeah, we already read that one. Okay. I just had to make sure I read all that, because flavor text is very important. Hop to it. That's great. Look at this fucking thing. This is an instant speed? No, it's a sorcery. Create 3 1/1 rabbit tokens. Yeah, that's the standard. Finding a hidden patch of glowberries is almost as joyful as eating them. Almost. Miss Bumbleflower. MS Bumbleflower. Wait, is there a Mr. Bumbleflower? I swear the other one said Mr. Bumbleflower. Was that wrong? Did I read it wrong? Oh, it is Miss Bumbleflower. I did read it wrong. We better get a card of her. Now that we know her gender. Miss Bumbleflower? Who is she? Intrepid Rabbit. A rabbit soldier. Dude, this is so cool. I want to play my rabbits against vampires. I actually don't want to build rabbits. Rabbits seems kind of stupid, but... Offspring 1. When this creature enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. I'll light the way, but we must walk it together. 3 for 3/2, but you can get another one. The token copy of it is what's really interesting, because it means that when this creature enters, target creature you control gets +1/+1 until the end of turn. It means that goes off twice, if I'm reading that right. I mean, it's still bad. It's not good. It's just because you're paying 3 and 1 to basically get. I don't know. I have to read the ruling on that. I'm a little bit. I'm not a judge. Jackdaw Surveyor. Look at this thing. Look at this thing. It's carrying the mouse, dude. That's crazy. And it's a bird cleric, which means that the birds are on the white side, if you think about it. If that's how it's split. Flying. Whenever Jackdaw Savior. What did I say? Surveyor? It's Savior. Jackdaw Savior. Or another creature token you control with flying dies. Return target creature card with less mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. But it's only a 3-drop. Or another creature you control with flying dies. Return another target. Wait a minute. No shot. Okay, so it's a 3-dropping 3/1s. This is a little bit vulnerable. Whenever Jackdaw Sorry. I'm very dyslexic. Because I'm seeing the R at the end and the R in the word and the... Sorry. Flying. Whenever Jackdaw Savior or another creature you control with flying dies, return another creature card with lesser mana value from your graveyard to the battlefield. You could throw this thing into a cleric deck or even an angel resurrection deck, because angels like all have flying, and this card is good. Like on a power curve, this card is like actually good. It's not great. I think it is undercosted, but I don't think it's brokenly undercosted. I think that's just what makes it good, is the fact that its effect is not spectacular, but it's good, but you're paying for that good effect and actually getting, like, you're only getting a 3/1 flyer, though, for that effect. Like, only a 3/1 flyer. Like, and the thing is, if it was a 3/2 and it cost 1 more, it actually in some ways would be better, because you could run 4 of it and you'd be able to like springboard a little harder than if this thing was just kind of a lord effect passively for other better, bigger flying creatures. Like, this would go pretty well in really any deck that you have where this card could go well. That's my assessment of this card, at least. Mabel's Mattel. Instant. Target creature you control gets +2/+2 until the end of the turn. Up to one other target creature gets +1/+1 until the end of the turn. For two, that's pretty good for 2. It looks like a World of Warcraft scene is going on. Like, it's like a rogue versus a shaman. And then the other guy's like a mage. Anyway. You stole a child from its nest, Mabel accused. The only calamity I see here is you. That must be part of something I'm unaware of. But it's kind of cute. Life Creed Duo. A bat bird. What the fuck? Dude, what the fuck? What the fuck? Why are you eating upside down? Asked the bird. Why are you eating upside up? Replied the bat. What? What is going on with this? This is weird. I like this a lot. I like that there's like a bee just kind of doing its thing. Flying. Whenever another creature you control enters, you gain 1 life. Yeah, you know, it's bad, but it's cute. I mean, and that's a good thing. Jolly Goebbels. Ain't no fucking way this is a fucking hamster citizen. Let's go. Ain't no fucking way. Whenever you gift, draw a card. That's cute as fuck, dude. I mean, it's still not great because, I mean, first of all, it does nothing. Like, this card is literally just you pay 2, you get a 2/3, which is not bad for a hamster citizen. With all the chaos going around, we thought it might be the perfect time to take a break and have a nice picnic. Would you like to join us? It's very cute. It's very, very, very cute. Look at this sardine. They have 1 sardine. It's like dead. It's like absolutely ridiculous. Parting Gust. Here, I'll stop scrolling all of them, so spoiling all of them. Parting Gust. Gift a tapped fish. Dude. What? This card is perfect. You may promise an opponent as a gift. If you do, they create a tapped 1/1 blue fish creature token before the other effects. It gives them a tapped fish token. Oh, it's so ridiculous. Exile target non-token creature. Wow. For double white, like, yes, please. At uncommon, like, yes, again, because, like, Path to Exile, Swords of the Plowshares is 1. Also printed at uncommon. Most other 2-drop kill spells are reserved for other colors. So, like, white removal has to be double white for this effect because it's exiling it. And anything under that is undercosted. For example, the 2 I gave. If the gift wasn't promised... Oh, interesting. If the gift wasn't promised, return that creature to the battlefield under its owner's control with a +1/+1 counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Really strange. Because I was thinking, like... It's too good, but it's double white. So it's like, it's actually pretty balanced. Because it forcibly gives them a token, a bad token, or it just fucks you and basically you can stall for 1 turn, but then their dude gets even bigger. So, like, it's kind of cool. I don't know how I feel about that. It's a very strange card. I would have never assumed that, like, it's so good. It's so well designed because it's like counterintuitive to what you would like want a card to do. But at the same time, that makes it somehow funnier. Valiant. Whenever Nettle Guard becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, it gets +0/+2 until the end of turn. Okay. Sacrifice it, destroy an artifact or enchantment. That's pretty good for standard removal, especially at 3/1, because a lot of the time, those types of cards are not as aggressive. So seeing it at 3/1 is not power creep. It's just good. It's just interesting. It's also not like something you build a deck around. It's just like, in a limited, again, draft format, you pick that. And unless I'm clueless and bad at drafting, which I am. And I haven't played in years. Mousetrapper. Mousetrap. My life hit me like a bitch slap. Valiant. Whenever Mousetrapper becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, tap target creature an opponent controls. Yeah, you know, I mean, it's so standard. It gets flash, okay? It does. It gets flash, which allows you to hybridize it again better with blue, and also allows you to just like play it at the end of your opponent's turn and then aggressively swing in with basically the equivalent of haste. And if you then power it up the turn after you untap after playing it on their turn, because basically you saved your power, then yeah, you get the benefits of attacking with a 3/2. I don't think it's very good. I just think that like it's very balanced and very well designed. I'm not here to hurt you, but I will stop you from hurting others. That's cute. And it's a mouse soldier. It makes a lot of sense. That's it. Every single card so far has been perfect. I wonder how many cards they didn't print because they weren't perfect like this. Repel Calamity. Dude, the art is amazing. Look how brave he looks with his maple leaf, like maple leaf on his cape. Destroy target creature with power or toughness 4 or greater. Such a good removal spell, but also kind of a little bit too limited. Destroy target creature with power or toughness 4 or greater. That's pretty good. The living seasons come to grow, to burn, to wither, and to freeze. As natural as it is for the calamity beasts to live, it is just as natural for them to die. Okay, so the implications there, first of all, the second wolf we have seen, and now we know that they have a name called the calamity beasts. Like, that's like, uh-oh, bro, those could be coming. I like the dualism of this. The extreme polarization, like the shadow. Rapid response. Instant. It looks like an instant artwork because it doesn't look to have like any embodied creatures. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until end of turn. If you control a rabbit, scry 2. Look at the top 2 cards of your library, then put any number of them on the bottom, and the rest on the top in any order. Scry is actually really good, by the way. Creatures you control get +2/+1 until the end of turn. Not for 4, though. Sorry, I'm not going to run this spell. You never fight just one rabbit folk. They bring the strength of their burrow to battle with them. That's the type of spell that, like, it's like a finisher, but, like, you're only going to run it in the pre-constructed shit-ass rabbit deck. I'm sorry. This card's not good. It's very well designed, very balanced, and is what you expect at the 4 curve. For a color that doesn't get removal at 4, and doesn't get any cool, like, it's like at 4, that's like, it's just filling a slot at common. It's a common card. Pileated Provisioner, what a great name. And it's a bird scout. Gets flying, obviously. It's 5-drop. When it enters, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature you control without flying. Aerial supporters train for years to make sure the weapons they drop land in the hands of mice and not on their heads. Oh my god, that's funny. Mouse warfare with swords. It's so ridiculous. When Pileated Provision enters, put a +1/+1 counter on creature you control without flying. It's just not good enough. Yeah, that's just a very, again, standard card. Salvation Swan. Oh boy, look at this guy. He's a rare card. Here we go. Flash flying at 4 for a 3/3. Not horrible, but also not Baneslayer Angel, you know. Wait, Baneslayer Angel didn't have flash. Anyway, half of the fucking meta when Morning Tide was a thing had flash, it felt like. Lorwyn, that's the base set that this would remind me of. Lorwyn. Anyway, whenever Salvation Swan or another bird you control enters, or another bird you control, I like that. Exile up to 1 target creature you control without flying. Return it to the battlefield under its owner's control with a flying counter on it at the beginning of the next end step. Like, listen, this card does some wacky, weird things. It's not very good, but when it happens in the game, if it happens in the game, could be game defining. So that's why it's printed at rare. I'm not that impressed with it, but I'm also not disappointed with it. Season of the Burrow. I love the artwork. I think so far this is one of my favorite artworks. Oh my god, there's paw prints. Gotta copy this card and put it in my list of, like, yes please more. Choose up to 5 paw prints worth of modes. Okay, what the fuck? First of all, I just noticed this is a mythical rare, which it damn well better be at this type of convoluted fucking effect. What is this? You may choose the same mode more than once. Choose up to 5 worth of modes. Okay, I understand it. Okay, so you're paying 3 for 5. You're paying 3 and 2 white to do any of the divided ways of doing it. So you can either do the 3 cost and the 2 cost, or 2 costs and a 1 cost, or 5 1 costs. Those are your only options. Oh no, you can actually do a 3 and 2 1s. So that's fucking sick. Anyways, so you either get 5 tokens, 5 white tokens for 5, which is bad, or you exile a target non-land permanent, its controller draws a card, which is not great, but also if you do it twice can kind of become great to just replace their 2 best board state pieces with junk, potentially. It's a sorcery. So, or you could return target permanent card with value 3 or less from your graveyard to the battlefield with an indestructible counter on it. So, like, you know, it's very interesting. I'm not really sure it's very good, but it could be. The thing is because it costs 5, it's not really trying to change the board state. It's trying to change the way that the deck wins. It's kind of like this card, like, it's a game ender because, like, it comes in late game for 5, which is not bad, but you're spending your whole turn to do it, but it's so versatile that it's almost worth keeping in the deck. Even if you draw it, like, early on in the game, it's kind of just worth sitting on. That's kind of my thoughts with this. And, like, again, generating 5 for 5 is actually really not bad. It's really not. Like, you hit turn 5 and you're just like, fuck you. Like, your dude's gone and I get 3 dudes. That's not bad. The thing is, it gives their opponent a card, but the thing is a non-land permanent. Non-land permanent. That means it can hit anything. I mean, you know, non-land. So that's pretty good for white removal. Yeah, I mean, like, for a mythic rare, I think it's about right. I think that the power curve is probably also about right. I like to see that they have toned down what mythic rarity is doing, since, like, you know, there was a time where, like, it was like they introduced a new power gradients to the game, which was just like 9 dropping ridiculous creatures, which were a lot of fun. They really were. And they didn't print many of them, and they printed them as a mythic. And it felt mythic when you pulled them. This, if I had pulled this, would be like, I'd be like, yeah, I guess I'm happy. Maybe I'm missing something, and this is one of the best cards that has ever been printed. Let's see what the price of this is. Because I'll bet you it's like $4 just because it's mythic rare. Like, you can't tell me that I'm going to pay less. Of course it goes to Card Kingdom. Of course it goes. Okay. I'm trying to skip. Shit. I don't want any of these spoiled. I'm not going to look at any of these. What was it? Season of the Burrow. $10. What am I missing that makes this card $10? Maybe just because it's not out yet? Maybe it's just a speculative price. I think it's a speculation price. I think it's gonna drop. I don't see that card being good. Some dude maybe will make it epic, but I don't know. I just don't see the card as that good. Anyways, Seasoned Wearing Guard. Okay, look at this little dude. 1 mana cost for 1/2. When Seasoned Wearing Guard attacks while you control a token, Seasoned Wearing Guard gets +2/+0 until the end of the turn. Never underestimate what a rabbit can do with a root vegetable and some moxie. Okay, the flavor text makes this card, because the rest of it's like not really worth talking about. Shrike Force. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. That thing is so cool. It's a Shrike. It's a Bird Knight. Flying double strike vigilance, but it's only a 1/2, so you have to give it something to hit with. I've trained, which is just exactly what you expect for a flying vigilance double striker at 3. For 3 defense, mind you. Not bad. The card is valued. I've trained every one of them in aerial maneuvers, talon strikes, and dive precision. They are on top of my class, and they may surpass me one day. Quickwing, Master Flyer. Cool. The card's just cool. But again, like Vampire Nighthawk. Sorry. Sonar Strike. Sonar Strike deals 4 damage to target attacking, blocking, or a tapped creature. You gain 3 life if you control a bat. Interesting. So white and black are playing together in this set, which I think I had already inferred just by looking at what that other card did. So now we know for a fact that black and white, I mean, it makes sense for bats to be black-white. You know, it's not that much of a leap. Valley's Midnight Clerics channel the life force of other animals into blinding strikes and searing shrieks. You know, I mean, like if you're playing black, you automatically get removal at 2, so you might as well limit what that can do because it's only white and also included in the set, and give it to white, because damage dealing to attacking, blocking, or tapped is not really that great. It's also really, really good and game defining. But if you're playing black, you have better options at 2, as same with red. And if blue, you should be countering if you think it's going to be that problematic, or just eating damage and then bouncing, I guess. I don't know. Star Charter. It's a black bat cleric. This is cute. Flying. At the beginning of your end step, if you gained or lost life this turn, look at the top 4 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature card with power 3 or less from among them and put it into your hand. Put the rest in the bottom of your library in a random order. You know, it does what it says. It's not great. Starfall Invocation. 3/4/5 for a rare card sorcery. Okay, gift a card. Then they draw a card. So let's see. So this is so you have a 5-dropping Wrath effect with white. If a gift was promised, return a creature card from your battlefield. So okay, so you can you mix together. The card's good. It's not great. It's good. Because you get a guy back, which is like, very standard for white, but wrathing them at the same time as you choose how the triggers stack, your dude lives? Or is it just a come into play effect where you're like, I don't know, I think your dude would live through that. I think because the wrath goes off first and then your guy comes back in on that spell resolution. But maybe not? I don't know. I forget how the stack works now. Now I'm double thinking it. I just don't think they'd print the card if it didn't also keep your guy alive if they're also going to draw a card. I mean, other than the fact that white has some pretty good, and can hybridize with other colors, gets some pretty good come into play effects. Thistledown Players. Whenever Thistledown Players attacks, untap target non-land permanent. Not that good. Oh, it's a common. I don't know why I thought this card was rare. In hand, a sword to slay the frightful beast. In heart, these words to soothe our lightened or frightened kin. Lily and the Ember Seed. I like how that's like maybe a band or something like that. Valley Quest Caller. My god, the artwork is getting me, dude. It's so cool. Rabbit Warrior. Costs 2 for a 2/3. No battle is fought or won alone. Okay. It's cliche, but I mean, it's a rabbit saying it, so. Whenever one or more other rabbits, bats, birds, and or mice. Oh my god, that's so fucking cute. That's so cute. Now that we have a faction, we know what the lords do. And they lord over rabbits, bats, birds, and mice. We have seen all of those in white. Other rabbits, bats, birds, and mice you control get +1/+1. Oh, it does lord. It's an actual true lord. Okay, so if you're theming rabbit, you run at minimum 3 of these, maybe even 4 of these. You could maybe go to 2 of these, but why would you? It's a lording effect. You know, the only reason you would ever go to 2 is if you're hybridizing and you're going for like more like spell utility than board state positioning. But the thing is this bolsters the positioning so well that what else are you going to run? And we're going to run an artifact that does the same thing? Like, you may as well just run another one of these. And then run Starfall Invocation and bring it back to, you know, kill some dudes. Warren Elder. Creatures you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. There is strength in numbers. More importantly, there is joy. Cute. And for 4, it can buff. So if you have endless mana, it's good. Warren War Leader. Wow. I like how there's like a faction of rabbits. Look at this dude. Look at his artwork. Oh, it's a mythic card. Okay. It's good. Okay, so 2 and 2 of anything else for 4. Already we know that it's good. And it's a knight, which means you can run it in a knight deck. Okay, whenever you attack, choose 1. Create a 1/1 white rabbit creature token that's tapped and attacking whenever you attack. Attacking creature you control get +1/+1 until the end of turn. And you can pay an additional 2 to get a 1/1 that's a copy of it, which means that when you swing the next turn, everything you control gets +1/+1 and a rabbit that's attacking. So it creates 2 types of tokens. And both of them will continue to create those tokens, and both of them will continue to lord. That's fucking great. That's great. That's really good. I mean, like, the thing is for 4, like, again, a Baneslayer Angel. So, like, wait, was Baneslayer Angel? Wait, let me look at Baneslayer. Okay, no. Baneslayer is 5. I'm sorry. Baneslayer would be broken to 4. But anyway, for 4, for a 4/4, this is a very standard card that you're going to have at least, probably in your pre-constructed deck that, you buy for like $17 or however much they are now. Anyways, I don't think there's much more needs to be said about the Warren War Leader. It's pretty good, and it probably will get some use, in some formats. Creature, Bat Cleric, Flying, Vigilance. Whenever you gain or lose life during your turn, Wax Wane Witness gets +0/+1. Okay, Bat-folk Clerics consider the cycle of light and darkness as a sacred allegory for life and death. Cute. This Warren War Leader, though. Because it says, if you do, when this creature enters, create a 1/1 token copy of it. That's what's got me like tripping, because I'm trying to simulate that in my brain. What would having 2 of them look like if every time you're attacking, you're creating 2 tokens that are also tapped and attacking? The thing is it doesn't have haste. But it doesn't need it. It's like, I don't know. It just seems good. It doesn't seem amazing. It seems good. All right, we're going to stop here. We'll do another episode later. Whiskervale Forerunner. Valiant. Whenever Whiskervale Forerunner becomes the target of a spell or ability you control for the first time each turn, look at the top 5 cards of your library. You may reveal a creature with mana value 3 or less from among them, and you may put it onto the battlefield. Ooh, you may put it onto the battlefield if it's your turn. If you don't put it onto the battlefield, put it into your hand. Put the rest on the bottom of your library in a random order. I think it's more interesting than it is powerful. It's a 4-dropping for a 3/4 mouse bard. It's the type of card that, like, yeah, you could put it in a deck. I got nothing more to say about it. It's like, it's interesting. It's printed at rare, and I'll give you the spoilers because you've already been looking at it. So, Azure Beast Binder. We'll go over this on the next episode. Vigilance, Azure Beast Binder can't be blocked by creatures with power 2 or greater. Okay. It's like a rogue, it is a rogue. It's a rat rogue. A rat. It's a rat. That means we get rats in blue, which means there's factional, archetypes, which we were expecting. Whenever Azure Beast Binder attacks, up to one target artifact, creature, or planeswalker an opponent controls loses all abilities until your next turn. Wow. If it's a creature, it also has base power and toughness 2/2 until your end of turn. Wow, so it like polymorphs when it attacks? And it's vigilant. That's so weird for blue. This card alone is just good. But it's blue. My brain's got to shift gears here. There's a lot of inferences I can make about what blue is doing in this set just based on this, because it has 3 defense, which I think is proper if you're printing a rare value. And also, it's only hitting for 1 damage, but it's pognifying something, but only until the end of turn. But that also stops their abilities, or at least forces them to trigger them, which isn't great. But if it's a passive effect, it can be monstrous because it can like nullify lorders, like lord cards. Pretty good, I think. I wouldn't necessarily. This may be more like a sideboard card, but like maybe not. I don't know. We'll have to see what the set is, but just off rip, that's kind of my thoughts on it. Bellowing Crier. Look at this fucking thing. It's a frog, dude. It's a frog, dude. That means there's frogs, dude. Dude, the mythic frog is going to be epic. Whenever Bellowing Crier enters, draw a card, then discard a card. Okay. I mean, cycle 1 for 2 for a 2/1 is a card, I guess. It's interesting that that's what frogs are doing. Glarb's Court can always be found repeating his disastrous visions, even when they are unwelcome. That is so funny. Dude, his name's Glarb, and people know him, and he's got stuff to say. I'm pretty sure on that note I'm going to end, because I'm a little bit like Glarb myself. Guys, thank you so much for joining. This has been Rainbows and Razor Blades, and we will be back again another time. Thanks for joining. We're going to do blue next from the Magic the Gathering 2024 set, Bloomburrow.